Hey, folks, good morning and welcome to another episode of Steelers Afternoon Rush. I'm Alan Saunders. Thanks for joining me here on the Steelers Now YouTube channel with our new daily Monday through Friday morning podcast, a short 5-minute essay on one subject from myself that will serve as a companion piece to Steelers Afternoon Drive, my 30-minute afternoon podcast with Zachary Smith. Obviously, we're talking Steelers training camp here, and I actually got a really good question from one of our audience members yesterday, Devin Harris, who said that, first of all, he thinks I should get a song for this one, too. I'm working on it. We're getting graphics first, and then maybe we'll get a song. I don't know that we could get a song as good as that Steelers Afternoon Drive intro, but we'll come up with something, maybe something a little more relaxed. I like getting amped up at 5 p.m., maybe something a little more relaxed for the mornings here. But Devin's question was, can you speak to the pass game style given we have a new pass game coordinator? Does it look different than Arthur Smith in Atlanta? I also a bunch of comments on my story, my Steelers takeaways at SteelersNow.com yesterday about this offense having its best day, an incredible day, and looking awesome. And I just thought this would be a good time to maybe take a step back and talk about what I think is different about Arthur Smith and this offense compared to last year. And some of the stuff we kind of know, right? We know what kind of plays Arthur Smith has called in the past, sort of the way, but maybe the stuff I've learned these first 5 days of training camp that I didn't know coming in here about just the way that he's going to go about his business, what the players are saying about it, and that kind of thing. So I think the first thing that steps out to me that I really notice is just how different of a person Arthur Smith is than not only Matt Canada, but most of the guys that I've experienced in that job. I don't want to say that like everybody, you have to be competitive to be an NFL coach in any fashion. But offensive coordinators are usually like a little bit, maybe like a little bit more aloof, maybe a little bit more like creative thinkers that are, trying to find a way around a problem and jotting stuff down on their pad during practice. Arthur Smith is a fired up dude. He's a passionate dude. And I think that's the very first thing that kind of comes across when you watch him at practice. Yesterday, they've been making the players do laps. Yesterday, he did a lap with John Rice Plumlee. I'm not sure what he did wrong, but like he's very engaged. He's very competitive. He's very much enjoying. It's obvious that he is enjoying this process. And I think one of the real wisdoms of Matt Canada over the years, in addition to like the play calling and stuff like that, is he just kind of looked like a guy that didn't want to be here an awful lot. And I think that passion really has engaged the offense in a different way. It's really funny because I keep asking offensive players, like, what's different or what do you make of this offense? And like they're having a really hard time explaining it because if you just say what they're going to do, it sounds like, oh, we're going to run the ball a lot. Well, yeah, obviously the Steelers ran the ball a lot before, and we're going to use a bunch of shifts and motions. And well, that was like one of the main things that Canada was known for. So that's not different, but it is different. It's just hard to explain the difference. I think the engagement of the players, I think Arthur Smith has done an outstanding job of explaining to people why they're doing what they're doing, showing the players the entire way that the sausage is made, what his intent is when he's doing things. And I think he's getting buy-in at a really high level. I never felt like the Steelers under Canada did a very good job of getting the details of that offense right. In fact, I thought the Steelers did a worse job of getting the details of that offense right than when I had covered it when it was at Pitt. I thought the Pitt players did a better job than the Steelers did. And, I mean, you can blame the Steelers players, but it's the coach's job to get that buy-in. And I think that there was a disconnect there when it came to the way you have to talk to pros, the way you have to engage with pros, the way you have to motivate pros that never really came out before. I think you're seeing that in a big way with Arthur Smith. They really like the guy. Justin Fields was talking after practice yesterday about how he remembers playing Atlanta the last 2 years and how much trash Arthur Smith would talk on the sideline. And, he's just like, this guy gets it. He's one of us. We like him. We want to be a part of what he's doing. And if the plays aren't good and the X's and O's don't line up, I don't think that matters. But I do think that gets you offensive linemen willing to run laps because they made a mistake, and the team getting on board with having that kind of commitment to consistency and being a team-led process instead of coaches saying, hey, you have to do this. And that's actually what happened. It was the offensive linemen themselves that came up with what they were going to do if they did not meet the standard. And so I think I've seen just a total change in the way the Steelers feel about their offense, and I think their knowledge of the offense and the details that are important is significantly greater. Let's talk about X's and O's. I do think you're going to see some things that you remember from the past in this offense that are a good thing. I talked to Jalen Warren a good bit yesterday about this, and he said, "Look, if it works, we're going to use it. This isn't a guy that's bringing in a system that he cares about more than he cares about winning. So, like, there are things that we've done, the Steelers have done in the past, what I'm saying, that we're going to keep doing because we're good at them. And there are things that he's done in the past that we're going to do because he thinks we can be good at them and he's done them before. But we're not doing anything just because this is what Arthur Smith does." And I think that's a very mature thing for a football coach. I think it's a really, for a guy who just got fired, it's smart, right? You mean, why would Arthur Smith want to do all the same things he was doing in Atlanta? That obviously wasn't working great. So you got to change some stuff up. Why not pick the things that the team you're inheriting was already doing very well? And the thing I'm mostly talking about there is running the ball with a power concept or with a gap blocking instead of just zone runs, which is what Arthur Smith is mostly known for. I think you're still going to see a good bit of that. Some other things I think I've noticed about this offense over the last 5 days, 5 practices, they're going to run a lot of different screens and very different kinds of screens, but it's going to be a bigger part of the offense. They ran some, like, there's play action screens, there's play action same side screens, wide receiver screens, some tunnels, some it's just it seems like it was like a flip screen. I don't know. I don't even know what you call that. Well, like, it just seems like there's a much better hiding, masking what the intent of the offense is. They're catching the defense off guard more. And I think that's a big part of what they're doing here, is that there's just a lot of misdirection in terms of, hey, we're going to do this stuff all the time, but then we're going to throw in this other stuff here. And I think it has big play potential. I think the bubble screen, like a traditional bubble screen, gets like 4 yards. Like that's a low potential play, but it seems like they're finding ways to get big plays out of low risk passes like screens. The one thing that I think is definitely going to be a part of this offense, regardless of what happens with the starting quarterback, is quarterback running. I think they trust Russell Wilson to run. Obviously, he's not 100%. We haven't seen that yet in this setting, but he certainly did it a bunch in the spring. I do think you're going to see Russell Wilson run with the football. And regardless of whether Russell Wilson or Justin Fields is the quarterback, I think you're going to see Justin Fields in there. He has an incredible talent for not just running with the ball and being a ball carrier, but doing things like hiding the ball, executing a mesh, and obfuscating what the goal of the offense is on a given play. And so I definitely think you're going to see more screens. I think you're going to see a lot more quarterback running. I think you're going to see a blend of the running concepts that the Steelers have used before and what Arthur Smith brings to the table. And then, the one part of this equation that I honestly haven't seen that much of in training camp so far, I saw more of it in the OTAs and minicamp, is you're going to see that deep ball. You're going to see that Russ moonshot. Once you start to get the defense, suck them in, and then throw it long. That is the last piece of the puzzle here that I haven't quite seen on this training camp field yet, but I'm sure it's coming. So that's my sort of 5 days into training camp impression of what you're getting from Arthur Smith and the Steelers offense. Let me know if there's something else you'd like me to talk about here on the Morning Rush or with Zachary Smith on Steelers Afternoon Drive. Make sure you stick around on the Steelers Now YouTube channel for all of our video content from training camp. There is just a whole ton of it coming out. And make sure you like and subscribe so you get the notification every time we have a new video here from Steelers Now. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you after practice.